Hello everyone, Auvbri here and welcome back to another speed build in The Sims 4. Today we are doing yet another micro house, or a tiny house, or a small house, whichever one you want to prefer to call it. This is a tiny house by the definition in the game, and yeah, it's gonna be a super ultra modern tiny house. So you've seen me do a farmhouse, a kind of bohemian styled house, like a hippie hut type of thing, and we've done a contemporary house, but this time around I thought I wanted to do a really modern build, because if you know me, modern is kind of the thing that I do, and yeah, I just thought let's take it to a tiny house. We haven't done that yet, so let's see how it goes. This tiny house is a family tiny house, so it actually fits 3 sim. I cannot remember if the family of sim that lives here is actually a family from the game itself, or if it's a family that I placed myself, but nonetheless it fits 3 sim, and it's a mother's room, a grandma's room, and a boy's room. You could of course change this up and you know, make the grandma's room into a girl's room, a kid's girl's room. That would work as well. You just need to move some items around, but that would totally work. So yeah, this is a tiny house, and we are using, I believe it's 64 tiles on this build, but we're actually cheating the game a bit to create a bigger house, because it was a challenge, to say the least, to actually get all of the rooms, a bathroom, kitchen, dining room, and a living room into this space. So in the back we actually have this glass room with, you know, glass sides, and I didn't actually close it off all the way, so it doesn't count as a room, but that's where we're gonna have the living area. We of course have multiple smaller seating spaces and seating areas for your sim to enjoy throughout the build itself, but the living room, or the living space itself, is actually on the outside in the kind of glass room that we see in the back. And I also threw in a glass roofing piece in the back, because I thought, you know, that would open it up a bit more and not have the build feel so closed in. So I started painting here, and I thought, you know what, let's go classic black and white-ish. So we chose the black stone walls, complemented by this white brick wall. It's kind of like a mosaic I don't know, it came with the fitness stuff, I believe, or maybe it wasn't the fitness stuff, it was Get Together expansion pack or something like that, but it's definitely one of my favorite wallpapers. The recoloring on it is so good, so I use it a lot throughout my builds, and especially if I want to do modern like this one, because it really has that modern element to it, which I really like. So I decided to use it here as well. We do have the red door in the front, but I'm actually going to change that up in just a little bit. And this build actually took quite a long time compared to the other tiny houses that I've built. So as I said before, this is a part of the Tiny Newcrest series, where I actually populate Newcrest with all tiny houses. We're not gonna redo all of the public lots that we have in the game, but just all of the residential lots, so they will all be tiny houses or small houses, you know, inside of that category, so we can actually get all of the benefits from that. But that is what Tiny Newcrest is all about, creating a Newcrest with all tiny houses, and this is the 4th one on this series. So yeah, I think it's going really well. I try to do something different and do something you know, so every house seems different, but you can still tell that it's a tiny house. And seeing that we also had this big lot here, filled it up with a tiny house. The tiny house doesn't actually fit that much or take up that much space on the lot, so I really wanted to have the exterior work on the tiny build really stand out, but also still be super modern looking. So the thing with modern builds is it's very, in my head, very difficult to actually get a modern build to look full and you know, manicured, but still have a lot of space like we have here. And that's why I really love doing modern builds, because it's the challenge to try and decorate without over decorating, if that makes any sense. And seeing that we had this lot with a lot of space on it, I knew I wanted to throw in a lot of stuff to keep the landscaping really cool, but I also didn't want to like overcrowd it with landscaping stuff, because you can easily get, you know, lost in the landscaping, and then the kind of cohesive build and feel and design of it all can kind of disappear. So that's why I really love doing modern, and you're gonna see a lot of modern builds on my channel, but I try to keep them all different but still have, like, you know, a hint of the same thing in there. But yeah, moving outside, you can kind of see we just had a switch in the clips here. So as I said, this actually took a long time to do compared to my other tiny houses. So this tiny house actually took 3.5 to 4 hours to do from start to finish, whereas my other tiny houses have actually taken about an hour and 30 minutes each from start to finish. And it's because the decorating in this build was actually very difficult. I tried to keep everything modern looking. We also went into debug mode to grab some of the cars that you see around. And if you guys know me, I'm a simple guy. I don't go into the debug mode. That's not a place where I belong. I've just dipped my feet into custom content, and I'm really liking that. But the debug mode is a whole other thing. I know a lot of simmers and especially sim builders who are very difficult or very talented in using that difficult mode, but I am just not one of them. I'm not good at it, and I often cut out the parts where I use the debug mode, because for me it takes so long to use the debug mode. So by the time I found what I'm looking for, I will have used 15 to 20 minutes just looking through 1,000 items, because because you can't categorize them, and that's just super annoying to me. So I would rather just use the base game stuff that the gurus intended, and maybe some custom content here and there, and that's it. Speaking of CC, when you actually, if you decide to get this build, there's a link in the description box down below underneath this video. You can go check that out, or use my origin ID to find it. But if you decide to get this build, it says that there is something modded or something CC in the builds. I have, for the life of me, I've looked everywhere, and I honestly, I'm watching this for the second time, because this is my second recording of this voiceover, because the first time I accidentally recorded with the wrong microphone, so it sounded horrible, like I was stuck in a washing machine with the doors closed and screaming at the microphone. It was just it was bad. But yeah, for the life of me, I've tried to find the CC inside of the build that the game talks about, and I've watched very carefully on the screen here and now also to see if I can see where this supposed custom content is. I don't know where it is. I cannot see it being used. But you know, if you get this build and you don't have all of the CC packs that I have, which is listed down below, by the way, if you want to figure out what I'm using in my game as custom content, but you can download it without problems, the game will just remove the CC from the build, and then you're good. So that should not be a problem. But yeah, we're well on our way to decorating this place. So the entrance, we have this small hallway here. You can see not a lot of space. And by the end of the hallway is the entrance into the bathroom. We have some seating area right when you walk in. I thought that would be really nice to have a nice seating area there. And we're working with a lot of different colors here. So the good thing about a tiny house is that you don't have to actually feel restricted by the amount of stuff you put in here. You can still, and especially in a modern build, you can still put in stuff without it actually feeling like you haven't put anything in here. So you can make it feel very inviting and homey, which I really love. So we have the entrance area and the kitchen, dining room area, and we have a lot of seating spaces around the place, which I think is a very good thing, especially for a build like this. And here we have the grandma's little room. So all of the rooms are 6 tiles, no more, no less, or yeah, 6 tiles. And that was actually a really big challenge to try and make such a small room feel different in each of one. Okay, so the mom's room, she actually has 8 tiles, but I mean 2 of the tiles are not really usable at all because we have other furniture in there. But yeah, it's very difficult to try and get small builds like this, and especially small rooms, to feel different when we're in the same space. And I think I made it work. I really love the way that it looks. So going into the boys' room here, and again, we're going to show everything in this build because it's a small build and it's only 17 minutes long. That's actually really long for a tiny house. But in the boys' room here, I knew I wanted to also have a computer and a desk area. I've tested this out, guys. It does work. So I've tested every single room out with my sim and all objects like that to make sure that everything would work, especially now that we're working in such a tiny space. I wanted to make sure that all of the furniture that I've placed wasn't too close to the wall, or, you know, interacted with another object that it couldn't, anything like that. This is the mom's room, and that's actually the last room inside of the house, except for the fake living room where we actually cheated the game a little bit because I didn't want to go up to the small house category, because then you lose a lot of the perks that you get by having a micro and a tiny home. Of course, micro home is the best, and if you want to have a micro home, I actually created the Micro Bohemian house, which was my latest speed build before this one, and I think it turned out really nice, so go check that out. It's up on the channel as well. But yeah, we're kind of done inside, and this is the last room before we jump into the video tour. I also think it's a very nice room to have, this outside room here. I made it very simple, you know, so you would be able to quote unquote move the furniture inside if it started to rain or something like that. But yeah, I think it's a nice room, and we try to throw in some color here so it wouldn't look too dark and dreary and stuff like that. So I think it turned out really nice. And here we have the video tour, guys. So remember, if you want to get this build, as I said previously, it is up on the gallery right now. You should be able to find every single thing that I've done, yeah, link in the description down below. While you're in the description box down below, why not go check out my latest videos. You can go to my Discord server. That's also a very good place to be. I post little teasers and hints like that to what I'm currently building. So if you want to get an insight before everybody else to that, go to my Discord server. There's a link in the description box down below. Also, go to all of my social media pages, Twitter and Facebook. Really active on that now, and you can go follow me there and let's have a chat if you have anything you want to tell me, Discord and Twitter, Facebook is the best places for you to go if you want to get an insight into what I'm doing in my day-to-day life. So out of YouTube, my Instagram is also a really good place to be, and you can kind of see like an insight into what I'm currently doing and working on in my day-to-day life, and you know, just small stuff like that. I really love the video tour that we have this time around. I try to make it very cozy, especially with the camera movements. I think everything is just turning out really good with the intro, the animations, the transitions, and the outro. Everything is just really good. But yeah, I think that's everything I have to say. So social media pages, also of course give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. I try to upload 2 times a week, and yeah, subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friends and on social media pages and stuff like that. It really helps me out a great big deal. And let's see if we can get to 75,000 within this year. That would be awesome. But yeah, this is the last thing you're gonna hear from me, and I can stop babbling now and you can get on with your life. So there's nothing else for me to say other than have a truly fantastic day wherever you are in the world, and I really hope to see you next time for another video. Bye.